Hello, hello. Right, we're live and we're recording, and we just put a band together. It looks like. I mean, I'm ready for this. Let's take this on
I
tour.
know.
T-Boz,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for joining Your First Million, the podcast, and just joining this atmosphere right now. I feel a little out of body, I have to tell you, for the fact that I'm talking to you right now, just because
Aw.
TLC was part of my life, all of our lives, but from 12 to 20, those formative years, that's when I was hearing all of the original music from you all to begin with. And I just kind of went over that. This is a trip. So I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited because your podcast is different. So I was like, finally, something different. You know what I'm saying?
It's not music. It's about
Yeah.
all types of people. But
Mm-hmm.
it really is about that, success and how we view success, what that word really means. It's about
Yep.
money. Yes, it's about a lot of things, but generational wealth, it's about a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
want to welcome everybody coming in. Just come in and have a seat. Make yourselves at home. Don't put your feet up on anything, though.
I know, right?
Okay, so, and then I also want to welcome Janine, who is back. You might have, if you came to our last conversation a couple of weeks ago, you might have seen Janine. Janine, say something, because I believe it has to, your voice has to hit for it to show you on the screen.
Oh, hi. I'm so stoked to be here. This is awesome. Thank you.
All right, and y'all know Janine from the podcast. She's been one of our guests on the podcast. I used to be Janine's tour manager when she opened for Floetry, and she's just killing it. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. I want to first and foremost, I have to. I don't know if he's here yet, or if they're here yet, but I have to thank my brother Rook Hamilton for making this whole thing possible. He put this all together. I want to thank Rook Hamilton from Real Life Records and Angel White, the artist in Dallas. Want to shout out them all day long for making the T-Boz interview happen for Your First Million. All right, you got to cut that out. Cut that out. I call him Alfred. That's my brother's name, but he's Rook to the people.
Right.
So I'm going to call you T-Boz, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
I'm going to refer to you as that. I'm going to say, I was saying before, the whole day, I've been excited about this for, however long we've been working on it, but the whole day I was listening to TLC music, and I'm repeat, and I'm just, it kind of took me back, and I was just yelling at people, but nobody was here, and I was just like, case of the fake people, and what about your friends, and and then hat to the back, and I was like, and catching all those runs that Chili was doing, and I was, there was a pattern that you would have where you would come in kind of strong early in the song for the most part. And you have such a distinctive voice. And I just had a flashback to you and Debrat. Don't have me. I'm gonna stop singing. I don't want to sing.
Oh, Ghetto Love.
Yes.
That song. Yeah.
Anybody know Ghetto Love? You know what I'm talking about? Because you came into that with that sample. Oh, that was tight. Okay, so it's not going to be an hour of me just telling you about your own music.
Thank you.
I promise you. Do you have a favorite song that y'all did, or that you did as a solo artist?
I don't have a favorite song, but one of the songs that you named is a song that I wish would have been a single, and that was Case of the Fake People. I feel like that was like the second part of What About Your Friends, and that should have been a single. That song is jamming to this day. So I used to have a charity event that I used to do called T-Boz Unplugged, and I would do that song in my set. And it was just crazy how many fans knew all the words. I was like, see, I knew it could have been a single.
Yes, that song, either I saw it in a movie like this or I made a movie like this in my mind, but that song just makes me think of the salon.
Yeah, I thought that I knew about
talking at the salon. Yes. And yeah, it's just and it itself has a beautiful sample. The production on y'all's music was just always second to none, and that had a lot to do with LaFace, I'm sure, and a lot of the producers you worked with. Speaking of LaFace, Babyface had a 25-year anniversary tribute to Waiting to Exhale.
Yeah.
Just this weekend on Instagram. I listened to the entire thing like it was my job. And he gave y'all a shout out. Were you watching, or did you hear about that?
Yeah, I seen that part. Kenny, he's right. Every time, like, people don't know how much of a comedian he is. Like, he was like, we would laugh all the time and hardly not get the work done. That is so true. Because he is hilarious and people have no idea. Because we're goofy, but he's goofy. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard getting any records done with us because we would just laugh the whole time. And, you know, when you go into a session with somebody like Kenny, you're like, you know, some people get intimidated, like, oh, this is Babyface, you know what I mean? But he lightens the mood so much just by being humble and breaking the ice with just his silly demeanor, you know what I mean? So he made us feel real comfortable. So it was just like, oh, that's just Babyface, you know, after a while.
And he has such a dry humor to him, and so it just hits a certain way. I remember for 1 second I worked with him on tour. He didn't know me from Adam. I was in production for Tony Braxton, but I had to carry this really heavy printer on the airplane because I was, you know, bottom of the rung. And I, you know, I'm looking at this guy who was the same way with TLC. I'm like, that's Babyface. And he just made the whole plane laugh, making fun of me on this, but in a friendly way. You know what I mean? It wasn't a bullying way. It was like, you really, you know, you got you know what year it is, right? And it was just, his humor was so refreshing and surprising.
He's amazing, and his pen is incredible. Like almost like everything he writes is golden. It's crazy.
Yes. I want to talk about something that is, I know, of course, dear to your heart. This understatement of the year, but today is Left Eye's birthday.
Yep.
I believe she would have been 49.
Yep. I just turned 50. Sorry. I just turned 50 and she would have been 49 today. Yep.
Yes. Well, congratulations on turning 50.
Hey.
And yes,
you know,
that's a year. I can't wait for that year.
I know. That's awesome. But you know what? It's crazy because, like, on the anniversary, like today, I haven't posted anything yet. I'm going to post after, you know, I do the podcast with you. But the part that pisses me off is like the day that she passed away was the day before my birthday. And I hate when people come on there and go, well, are you going to post something? Why would I post about the worst day of my life? Like, that was one of the worst days that I ever had in my whole entire life. Why would I reminisce? Do you go and party on the day that somebody died in your family? You know what I'm saying? So today makes sense, but the anniversary of her death does not.
Yeah, it's just not right for you.
Yeah, and it pisses me off. Like, people act like we're not human. Like, if your mama died, would you party on the day that she died?
Yeah. I know this is a weird place to go with it, but I just remember Howie from Backstreet Boys. He lost his sister, and he had to tour like the next day or something like that. It was so crazy. How is that? I mean, do you feel a pressure as an artist, or especially, you know, when you're touring, when you're on a label, all of that, do you feel this pressure that is just so like overwhelming to perform, to be that performer, that star that people need you to be? Or do people give you a wiggle room?
I mean, I'm gonna have wiggle room anyway because I got my own lane. I'm comfortable in my lane. Like, I don't really care about nobody else because I've been T-Boz, so I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that we were so unique and different. Like, I think there's room enough for everybody out here, you know, and I'm going to be me regardless. And the day that stops working, then I guess I'm done. But if it's still working and if it's not broke, don't fix it. We still rocking. So, you know, I'm just always going to continue to be me. The pressure comes on mostly when you have to reinvent yourself. Like, as far as like when we did the first album, and you have to come and do Crazy Sexy Cool and figure out why people liked you in the first place. So then you sit there and I was like, okay, so we had strong lyrical content, strong beats. We had routines that went to every hook. So if I started doing this, you know, that's waterfalls. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
exactly.
So you just have to figure that stuff out. But then I remember when I wrote Unpretty, that came from me in my heart. And a fan was like, that doesn't sound like you. Yes, it does. It's just that you didn't know that part of me.
Yes. And that's one of my favorite songs. That's one of my favorite songs, y'all. One of your, hands down, one of my favorite songs. Like top 2.
Thank you.
Top 2.
I'm going to get a charger. Hold on, because I'm on my phone.
No problem. While you're getting the charger, I'm gonna set it up a little bit with Janine. Janine is an artist originally from New Zealand. She lives in Los Angeles by way of Brooklyn. You know, had that path. Was on Atlantic Records and has been off about a year or so, right? And you just put up a milestone on your Instagram, Janine, where you said you had what 2 million downloads of which song and what place?
Oh, I got 2 million streams on Spotify for a song Broke Me Down, and it was about 6.5 million within a few months of something I put out completely independently with no budget and everything. So it was like a nice milestone, because when I was signed, they just weren't doing anything and it wasn't moving. And then it's just like, once you follow your way, it starts to kind of click into place. So that's what felt so good about it. It wasn't just the numbers, it was like the way it happened, you know?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You have an amazing loyal group that follows. I mean, a loyal fan base. You have all kinds of videos that just prove that. That's when people are losing their minds when you popped in on their Instagram the other day. It was amazing.
I gotta be honest, I'm trying not to lose my mind like right now.
Yeah, let's talk about it. But what do you want to talk to T-Boz about? Well, we'll see. We'll see in a second here. What do you want to talk about, T-Boz? What do you want to talk to T-Boz about?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you for the music that you made. It's inspired me and my music so much. So I don't know what my music would be like if you hadn't created the music you did. So
thank you.
I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of your songwriting, and also a fan of your strength in and out of the music industry. So just
thank you. Fan. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so my question is something I think about a lot, and I think you've always, from an outside perspective, seemed to do really well on. And the question is, how do you balance wanting to share and protest all the negative things that are going on in the world, and then also be a light and an entertainer and an escape from that reality for people?
That's a good question, because I think a lot of people are scared to step up because of the criticism and the backlash that they'll get. But if I feel strongly about something, I don't give a damn what nobody thinks. I'm going to speak on it. And, you know, a lot of times it takes that person to be the first person to show that they're not afraid to put their foot down and say, look, I believe in this. I'm going to stand strong and talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people look to artists to do that, because, you know, kids are so impressionable. And, you know, and I hate to say it, but there's a lot of followers more than leaders. It's okay to lead. It's okay to lead because it's needed. And you can still be a positive force while, you know, talking about, you know, real subject matters, because like what just happened yesterday with the guy, the cop who killed the guy,
George Floyd.
Thank you. Yeah. And putting his knee on his neck. Now I get upset about all this stuff. I just didn't go off yesterday, but I still got a lot to say. You know what I'm saying? But through my music, I talk about so many inspirational things, but stuff like that needs to be talked about. And I love that it's not just our nationality talking about it. I love that I've seen a whole bunch of Caucasian people taking up for the blacks, because that's what's needed. Because I used to look like, you know, have you ever heard that saying when they would say to some of the white artists, they would be like, oh, it's cool to be black until it's time to be black.
Right.
And what they meant by that was, it was cool to, you know, rock the culture of black people. But then when something, you know, political came up, they wouldn't say anything. So now that we're in 2020 and we're all one, because we all bleed the same. Wrong is wrong. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But it does help us to see other nationalities, you know, speaking up about things like that. And it's needed. So me, I just say, if you feel strong about something, you stay true to yourself and you speak on it, no matter what, if that's something you feel strong about. And you can still touch people in inspirational ways through your music, through interviews, and even for what you stand for, because there's going to be people who want to ride with you on what you're speaking upon. If that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I've always shared what I feel and what's going on, because I think it's also very important to come from people that look like me too. I think that's needed to move movements forward. the thing I think about sometimes is because I get upset, I get mad, and I want to just share and post all this stuff. And then I know sometimes people come to me because they just want to listen to music and not think about that for a moment. And that's something I try to balance, being like, okay, I want to let how I feel and let people know that I'm here and that I'm standing with everybody. And then also be like, if you want to get away.
But you know what? They can't tell you how you can talk on your damn page. That's your page. And you're a human. We're all human. You can't tell us that just because we sing songs, we can't have emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if that's what the hell you want to talk about it, talk about it. And if they don't fucking like it, they can get the fuck off your page. That's what I feel.
I want to know if T-Boz has any any Christmas cards that she can write for me.
Be like, if
do a line
you
of
and
Christmas
you
cards.
Merry Christmas. No.
And on that same topic, Janine, I understand you want to do that, but also people can curate too for themselves. They may say, I'm not going to come and listen to that because I did come here for the music, so I'll come back tomorrow when she's off the high horse, you know. And but I just so everybody knows, I've been in a Black Lives Matter march with Janine. I know she would never say that because there's no reason for her to, but you know, she practices what she preaches, and the fact that that was her question proves that out. Can we talk a little bit about? I want to talk about resilience. I have an entire section of my new book. It's About Damn Time. That's called Resilience, and it's about resilience. And for me, you embody that. Not only from what you have, not only the fact that you have been since you were in your late teens, this icon in the making, and now the icon, and what you have gone through in your life, but when it comes to your health, you've made it very, you've been transparent and open about your health, and I feel like there's so much strength that comes from facing that. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to share that with the world? Was that your decision, or where did it come from?
I think I was kind of forced into it because back in the 90s, we didn't have social media and all these outlets. So if a rumor was spread, it was word of mouth, and it kind of had some power to it because we didn't have all these avenues to get the news out. You know what I mean? So I remember being on tour and I was in the hospital, and all these people, instead of helping me, I had a sickle cell crisis, and they were like, does she have lesions? Oh, is she this and is she that? They were checking to see if I had AIDS. But even if I did, like, the point is your job is to help me, not be nosy. Like, I could give two, I'm trying not to stop cussing. I can
you
care less.
You can curse as much as you like. This is my podcast. Just like it's
I'll be trying not to, but I could give two shits, like, if, like, about you being nosy. Like, your job is to help me. You know what I'm saying? And at that moment, I don't care that I'm T-Boz. I'm somebody's daughter. I'm somebody's mother. I'm somebody's sister. I'm somebody's friend. I am a human being that needs help medically. And that's all you should be worried about. So when a lady who used to run the national region called me, her name was Linda Anderson. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this because, for one, I want to clear up some of the misconceptions about the disease, and also educate people, because they're, to this day in 2020, they're so misled and uneducated, and you have to be your own advocate. And these doctors and their bedside manners is just horrible. There's money in medicine. People aren't trying to cure you. They're just trying to treat the symptoms and keep you sick so you'll keep coming back. So you have to fight. And some people don't know how to fight because, I was born sickly with a non-curable disease, but there's some people who get cancer, lupus may flare up later, on in your life. And when you've been 100% healthy and all of a sudden you have this foreign thing that could kill you in your body, you just don't want it there. And you want it to be okay. You want to live. You know what I'm saying? So you're so stressed out. You don't even know where to begin, where to turn, what to ask, any of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I do a lot of seminars and I talk to people from the inside out, because if you have cancer, AIDS, sickle cell, lupus, if you're 100% healthy, stress can kill you. So if you at home getting your butt whipped by your husband and you have cancer, you really trying to die fast. You know what I'm saying? So I talk to people from the inside out as human beings to clear your life out, so that you can just concentrate on getting healthy and being there and having, you know, a longer life expectancy. But I will always stay very open about what I've been through, because I was told I couldn't have it. I was told I couldn't have kids. I was told I would die by the time I'm 30. So for me, turning 50, I'll shout it to the rooftop, like, I'm 50 and up in this piece. You know what I'm saying? I'll be excited because I was told I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And they said I would be disabled my whole entire life too. And, you know, I've traveled the world in TLC, and we actually became the biggest, you know, selling girl group of all time in America. So I superseded all that stuff. So I will forever be an advocate for people who don't know how to fight for themselves.
I love every bit of that. And you touched on a few things. And the last thing you touched on, such a delicate mic drop that we have to go back. Okay. You are 1/3 of the selling girl group, woman group, or whatever you want to call it, of all time. Beating out the Supremes, beating out everybody else.
That's crazy. I know. It sounds so crazy.
Do you know offhand your record sales by average? Like, do you know we sold X number of records or whatever?
They said it was 85 million plus. I don't know what it is now, because, you know, now that we're doing touring and stuff like that, you know, your sales go up. So I don't know where they are now, but we were at 85 plus. And then we're owed another Diamond Award, I believe, for fan mail. Yeah. Yeah. So I think if they still have those, I want mine, shoot, because that's like a big deal, you know?
Yeah, let's look into that. We're gonna look into that for you, T-Boz. And I know y'all just got, I don't know how many new sales from me, just going and finding every little bit of piece and telling everybody. I'm just you mentioned something about touring last year, I believe, South by Southwest in Austin. I think it was last year. I was speaking, and they told me, I was speaking on a stage, and they said, you know, TLC is here. And I said, they said, they're like, we have to leave because they're speaking. And I was like, can I leave because they're speaking, or do I have to do this talk?
So funny. Yeah, Chili ended up going. I didn't go.
Okay. What was that promotion? What sort of thing? Was that a TLC thing, or was that a solo thing for her?
No, her and Nelly did it. I didn't go because I wasn't feeling well. So when my sickle cell bothers me, I can't fly because it thins my blood. So she went on behalf of TLC, and they were promoting our tour that we did. Yes. So it was at that time, I believe we were doing New Kids on the Block, Nelly, and TLC. And that's then last summer we did Nelly, TLC, and Flow Rider.
Yeah.
And between us and Nelly, we were co-headliners. So we would switch off in certain cities on who headlined. And honestly, I'm not even the artist that cares about going last, because I be really wanting to get the hell on. I don't be wanting to be stuck in traffic. So I don't be caring about, like, go ahead, go last. You be stuck in all that traffic. I'm fine with going before. You know?
I love that. I miss those package tours. I used to have those package tours where it was like, I remember going to Boys to Men, Tevin Campbell, Babyface, and this Q. And by the time you get to halfway there, you're like, I got my money's worth. I mean, and then some halfway through. Yeah. So that's a kind of reminiscing about that. Touring, what is touring? What's a TLC show like today? Because I have to see y'all live soon.
You have never seen us?
I have not seen you in the last few years, no.
Okay. It's still very energetic, a lot of dancing, back to back songs. Like, yeah. Like, I didn't even realize we had that many hits until I'm singing 18 songs a night, you know, just a lot, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's kind of like a We Are Family type of backyard boogie barbecue where everybody's just celebrating and dancing together. So if you were with us along the way, you'll remember why you liked us. And if you forgot, we'll remind you. And if you didn't know, we'll show you.
Oh my goodness. It's almost like
so it's a fun show. It's a fun show.
Would you ever consider doing a residency kind of like Boys to Men do?
Yeah, we were offered some. I didn't like the deal, so we turned them down. I would love to be I would love to have stability, to be in one place and work on the weekends and stay with my kids, but I'm not, you know, trying to be taken advantage of anymore or work for pennies anymore. Like, I have kids to feed. Like, if it's not going to be a good deal, then it's not the one for me.
Well, that's a perfect transition to the third act here, because I'd love to talk to you. This is your first million. You have, as the same way you've been pretty public about your health when you didn't have to be, and thankfully, I'm sure you've saved a lot of lives and helped a lot of people by doing that. You have talked about business. You just said now business deal wasn't right. It wasn't right for me, so I'm not doing it. Do you feel like you have been taken advantage of in the past when it comes to money or deals?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I don't cry over spilt milk. I just pick up the pieces and move forward and make sure I don't make them same mistakes. Or I learned from my lessons. Like, if I wasn't educated in a certain area, please believe I am now. And the problem really was, we never said the words people stole money. What we said is they didn't do fair business, meaning when we did our first album, the percentages were not renegotiated. Everybody knows when you have is it called the sophomore album or whatever? And
Sophomore's the second one.
Yeah, the sophomore album was you're supposed to renegotiate. Yeah, but it was never renegotiated. So our manager at the time had the same percentages, and that's not fair. So on our sophomore album, it was the same. And no, our first album was successful, so it should have been different. The numbers should have been way different, and nothing had changed. So, you know, I hate when I hear L.A. Reid or certain people saying, oh, they said she stole. You ain't never in 28 years said I said somebody stole money. I said they did unfair business. So this is how this industry is. Like, if I owed you $20, right? And I come up to you and say, girl, I got your 10, and you take it, that's called fair, because you took the 10. No one getting well, moralistically, I owe you 20. But if you go for the okie doke and you didn't know no better and you took that 10, that's called fair. Now, these people don't go by what's moral and what's right. They don't go by character or integrity either. They go by greed, being evil, trying to keep you subservient and under them. They want to have all the power. And it's not in my DNA. I don't kiss no ass. I don't give a damn what you've done and who you've worked for and what you do. I appreciate everything everybody has done for me. But when it comes to where you try to play me or make me kiss your ass, I ain't doing that. I ain't never doing that. That means my career, like, the people will tell you, I done came in the office like, yo, I will go and be an actress before I sit up here and have you take advantage of me and tell me what I can and can't do.
I mean,
and I'll just quit the group and bye, and I'll just have another job.
Can you be a life coach? Would you be interested in that?
Being a life coach? I'll
be in mine.
Be in mine. What happened to her? No.
I love it. I love every bit of it, because I think there was all this mystery and, you know, behind the curtain stuff about music and about movies and about deals, and it's all coming to light now. And you're seeing what really happened behind the scenes, and most of it, how it shakes out is that most of the people who ended up on the wrong side of it were women and people of color, because they have enough power or influence at the time. You're talking about the biggest selling group, girl group of all time, having, you know, this explosive first album that y'all had that just, I mean, don't get me started. Like I said, I'll sing every song. I will sing it, every word of it. And then not knowing at early 20s, not having that kind of, and I don't know who was in your group. I'm not, you know, in your team. I'm not trying to say anybody's particular, but just not being told, this is how you're supposed to negotiate this. This is what this other person would have gotten. This is what this person would have negotiated for themselves. And then you see in movies where what's happening is that some of the actors are telling the actresses what their salaries are, so they can be on par with each other.
Yeah.
And that you don't really have that in a group, because you're kind of like an island of these different groups and artists, and don't get to talk to each other. So how have you remained not bitter. I mean, you're confident and you're strong in your words, but I don't see any bitterness in it. I think you, like you said, you move on. How do you do that? Is it because you've gotten, like, the positive that you've gotten out of this life is worth it? I mean, with the fans and with the music has influenced people like Janine, like, is that worth it, or is it something else you're tapping into?
Well, I have God on my side, and I have a strong family base. You know, my foundation is strong. I'm not about to sit up here and harbor over somebody who ain't worth my time. To me, harboring bad energy and feelings and holding grudges just hurts you. So I don't have time to be sitting around wasting time on somebody who's going to be who they are anyway. So I'll be sitting over here, woe is me, and ruining my life for somebody who ain't shit. I know they ain't shit. And why would I change who I am for them? No, I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you that power over me. I'm going to just say, God will deal with you, and I'm going to keep on moving. The old me would have probably wanted to slap you, but I worked on myself and my temper. You know what I'm saying? So I just, turn the other cheek and be like, you reap what you sow, because you really do. You know what I'm saying? And I actually look at it as a favor now. Like, if God shows me somebody isn't supposed to be in my life, thank you for showing me, so I can get them out of my life and get the hell on.
I'm gonna talk just a little bit more about money, and then I'm gonna switch over, and then we can close out.
Okay.
What is a takeaway that you want young entrepreneurs, older entrepreneur, any entrepreneur, especially those who are underrepresented, underestimated, as we call them? What do you want them to know about their like when they start their company, or just like getting in a deal with somebody, or anything, any kind of takeaway you can tell someone who's listening now or in the future?
The thing that I love about, all these different outlets is, back when we were out, we didn't have people to tell us what to look out for. Now you have all kinds of people telling you their mistakes, so you won't make the same ones. You really got to pay attention and listen to what we're saying, so you don't have to go through the same thing we do. Everybody has to be watched, down to the lawyer, to the CPA. If you want to be in this industry and have longevity, you got to become a business person, a businesswoman, or a businessman, even if you don't want to, because that's the only way you're going to keep your money. Because, how would I say it? I lost my train of thought. I was going to say,
well, it sounds similar to startups. It sounds similar to the entrepreneurs that we work with all the time.
Yeah.
Sharks out there looking for blood. And it's just, I mean, I think sometimes there's a lack of confidence. Somebody thinks, well, I guess I'm supposed to play the rules because that's what everybody else does.
And you know what? A lot of people play to be more intelligent and more important than they really are. Half these people don't do shit. Been fired from other jobs and hopped on the bandwagon and got another job. All these execs then had jobs somewhere else, got fired for laundering money or doing this or doing that, and have a job at another company. And it baffles me, like, how did you run this record company when you know what you did over there? I don't understand it. So like lawyers, even, you're blessed if you find a good one, because their job is to run up the bill and keep stuff going hourly. But I'm the kind of person, I done told you what I want. This is what you need to go get. I don't have time for you walking all around the mulberry bush and running up my bill. Go get this, because that's the only thing I want. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know what you want. And then some people always want to take the fast lane. They want to run before they walk, or, walk before they crawl. At the end of the day, everything has a step, like, an infant turns into a toddler, a child. Everything has levels to this. You know what I'm saying? So most people want their first year business to just be successful and out the gate. And then, some of these youngsters will compare themselves to, like, Kylie Jenner. She came into money. That whole family was already into things. Like, so you can't compare your life to somebody else's. Everybody has their own life, their own story, and their own time to make it. Maybe your time isn't now, but if it's something you really believe in, you keep strong and stay working, towards that path of success and for whatever you want, because, we all have different times that we're going to shine. And if I always say too, it's a talent to know when you're not talented. I know what I'm not talented in. You know what I'm saying? So if it's not something that you really are good at, like, and you're just doing it for money, you're in it for the wrong reasons anyway. If you're not good at it, don't do it.
Well, I'm going to ask one more question and make a statement. And while I'm doing that, everybody in the chat room, say what your favorite TLC or T-Boz solo song is, so that we can get a little view of that. I'm going to say I Miss You and I'm Pretty are my two favorites of all time.
Hey, yes. Thank you.
Verzuz. So Babyface mentioned you on Verzuz. I want to see TLC go against Destiny's Child on Verzuz. Can we make that happen?
A lot of people have been approaching me about it. Timbaland, Swiss, where you at? Like, what's up? I'm ready. I'll be ready. I could do that. Like, it could be anybody. Escape, Destiny's Child, SWV. We'll even go with Boys to Men. We can go with some guy groups. I don't care.
TLC versus
make it different.
Man.
Yeah, that would be fun. It would be different. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, or Salt and Pepper. Would you do that?
Yep, Salt and Pepper too. Yep. But actually, they open the doors for people like us to step in. You know what I'm saying? So, I give them much respect because, if it wasn't for other people, we couldn't be who we were. And I think that's what a lot of artists fail to do. Like, I hate when somebody comes on the scene knowing good and well they looked up to a certain artist and they just act like everything's been done mostly. You know what I'm saying? You can get creative and innovative and change things here and there and sprinkle a little extra on it. But at the end of the day, just like clothes, everything, comes back around.
Recycles.
Yeah. So, like, stop acting like you're the first person that came up with this. That's not happening. And just so if we really want to break it down, Michael's the best to ever do it. And there's nobody who's going to ever be as great. Ever.
Can I ask you a question? Because you mentioned Michael Jackson. Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
I have wondered this for 20 some years.
What?
You had Outkast, you had Andre 3000 on Something Wicked, which is an amazing song, and his verse is an amazing verse. But he goes after Michael in that.
He does?
Yes, he does. Am I breaking news to you? He
says, what
he
says
something like that sellout, not calling no names, but really who's bad. He called him a sellout. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, it's it's art. You know what I mean? So I just thought it's art, but it could have been controversial. I really didn't.
Now, if I had known that, it probably wouldn't have made the album. Because, I don't play when it comes to Mike.
Wow, that is incredible. I don't even know where to go from now because that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I caught it just because it's a beautiful song. It's an edgy song. It's kind of like.
But I never heard he was talking about Mike, though.
He said, not Colin. He said, I wish I remember I sing it all the time, but he said,
you're going to make me go and listen to this.
Listen to the beginning of
after this.
Yes, he said, like that sellout, not calling no names, but really who's bad. I go through obstacles like a whole box of okay, I'm gonna stop.
Well, was he using a metaphor or was he really talking about MJ?
He said, I'm gonna stay on my tippy toes like that sellout.
Mike wasn't no sellout though.
I know that, but I didn't write it. but he said
it had to be a metaphor. You gonna make me go to Andre and figure this out because I helped Outkast get signed.
Did you?
Like, yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, let's have it. Let's bring Andre 3000 on to the Zoom and to Your First Million. Have you talked about it? I'll ask him because it's his verse. You shouldn't have to.
It better have been a metaphor. You better be starting something. Arlan.
I started something.
I'm telling you. I need to know this now. I need the answers of who he was talking about. Okay. I need to know.
You find out. You have your people let me know so the mystery can be solved. Because that surprised me, not only for that, but just because
somebody just said something like he was saying he used something they were saying about Mike, like in a metaphoric way, and he was taking up for him or something. I couldn't read the whole thing because it went too fast.
Okay.
My whole life,
yeah, because I would think he would be influenced by him. That's why it was so confusing to me.
Right.
But it is a song about it is a song. Well, I mean, we're not gonna get too far into this, but it is a song about Blackness, and it is a song about and it could, depending on what year it was, people could have had a particular opinion. And that might have been his artistic mind at the time. So I'd love to hear what he has to say about it. I had no idea we'd be breaking news right now. To T-Boz.
Now you got me going through the words in my head sentence.
Oh yeah, somebody's writing it. Somebody's writing it. Y'all would not hear. Oh, you're going too fast. Hear that fat shit that keeps you on your tippy toes like that sellout. Not calling no names, but really who's bad. I go through obstacles like a whole box of condoms. You can't forget where you came from.
Yeah.
To me, that seems. I mean, I'm no, poetic philosopher, professor of fine poetry, but to me, he said no. Somebody saying no, he didn't mean that. Somebody let me know what it means then, because that's what I thought it meant for 20 some years.
I just thought he was talking about somebody, but I didn't think it was Mike.
Okay.
So because now you're gonna have me going back talking about some, hey, find Andre for me. Where you at?
Yeah, well, last time I saw Andre, he was like at a Chipotle or something, and he was like playing an instrument and doing this art, like experimental art thing, where he was just everywhere and everybody's wearing his own shirt of somebody wearing a shirt of him.
He's so special.
Yeah. One of the most brilliant minds I've ever seen in
yeah,
music. So, it's all love, but okay. So my mind's blown. At the end of all these, we just have our minds blown, don't we, kids?
Somebody said it was Andre's birthday too.
It's Andre's birthday today?
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Happy birthday, Andre.
Wow. Okay. Let's find out. He's gonna get a birthday call from T-Boz asking him about a song.
Okay. So what did you mean? Who was you talking about?
Yeah, who was you talking about back then?
And CeeLo sang backgrounds on Waterfalls with me.
Oh, did he? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked with CeeLo for quite a long time.
Yep. So it's funny because everybody who I went to high school with, the guys, they ended up doing our biggest song to date, which is Waterfalls. And, we had a pact back in the day that whoever made it first, that person would put the other person on. So I kept my word. So when I got put on, I put on my boys on.
Really? Okay. Yep. I want to wrap up, but I do want to know that. So you said you helped Outkast get signed. How did that work out?
We were at Bosstown, the studio. It used to be Bobby Brown's studio, and then Outkast bought it and it changed to Stankonia. But back when it was Bosstown, we were in a session, and Bryant Reed, L.A. Reid's brother, was over A&R, and he didn't like this song called Players Ball. Now, mind you, at the time, Sleepy Brown and Marquez and I were in like this little singing group, and Marquez is one of the main writers on Waterfalls. And so, and Marquez and I went to school together. The producer of Waterfalls, Rico Wade, and I, we hung together, and we worked at this beauty salon together, and he's the reason I met Left Eye. He's the reason I even got in Crystal's group to meet Lisa. So, wait, what was I telling you?
You're telling me how you got Outkast.
Oh, yeah.
You were at Bobby Brown's place.
So we were in the studio, and Brian didn't read it. So it was 1:30 a.m. and I called LA, and I was like, dude, your brother's about to make a huge mistake. You got to hear these boys. Like, they're amazing. Like, if you pass on that, y'all fucking on crack. Like, you crazy. You know what I mean? So he actually got up out the bed at 1 a.m. and came down there. And that was that Players Ball song, and he loved it. And from there, they ended up connecting and getting signed.
Yes. Okay, so as I mean, obviously, if you don't already have a podcast series or Audible series where someone's paying you to tell stories, you need to have that. I'd love to see you on a talk show because I think you would bring so much to that dynamic that kept.
Oh, thank you.
The last thing I want to talk to you about, you have a company. You have a CBD company. What is it called? Because I don't know much about it. I'd love to hear about it.
It's called TLCBD, so it's a play on words. So it's like Tender Love and CBD. And I'm not the type of person, like, I don't endorse any products unless I've tried it on myself. So I tested it on myself for 2 to 3 years first before I even mentioned it to anyone. And, I used to ruin every tour that we went on. And now that I've been on CBD, I don't get sick as often. It doesn't hurt as bad and as long. And we have tincture that you put up under your tongue. We have gummies. We have pain balm. We have facial serum, like for people who have the wrinkles and the crow's feet and, you know, the whatever you call that stuff around your eyes and your mouth and everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing because, you know, wearing makeup and all that, it starts messing with your skin. So the beauty serum is so amazing. Like your face will be so moisturized, and it's really helping, you know, like that anti-aging serum type stuff.
And the pain
really good.
relief is really interesting to me, to be honest. The pain relief is very interesting because I know that seems like that could be helpful. How do people learn more about the company to go check it out for themselves? I don't want to do any kind of, you know, as adults, we're going to check this stuff out ourselves and see if it's helpful. Where do they go? Is there a website, or how do they
it's tionwellness.com. And if you go to Instagram, it's shop.tlcbd.com. And it helps with anxiety. It helps with depression. It helps with my sickle cell. It helps with my mom. She has cancer right now. My daughter has lupus. It has so many different things that it really helps with. And honestly, I really do love it. I do. And I partnered with the chemist, actually. We went into business together, her and another friend of mine. We became friends because she works at, you know, a hospital, and all of us, and my brother is a partner as well. So it's 4 of us, but we all believe in helping other people and want to make a difference in the world. And I know it's kind of scary too, because have you noticed how many holistic doctors suddenly just go missing from a mysterious death when they do find a cure? Just like the one time they got Dr. Sebi in jail for nothing, and then he died. Healthy as all get out, but he all of a sudden just died mysteriously the one time they got him. And Dr. Sebi told me himself back in the 90s, they're trying to kill me. They've been giving me death
this documentary is being done on him, right?
It should be, because they're killing these doctors. When you ain't seen the 2 doctors that said they came up with some stuff for the COVID-19, and all of a sudden the one doctor hung himself and the other one mysteriously died. Come on, man, these people ain't dying. Y'all better wake up and look at what you're seeing. Anybody who finds a cure, because they're not really trying to cure us, they're just trying to treat the symptoms and keep us sick. Trust me on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do. I agree with the fact that this is it's an entirely new topic, but it is very real. The part that you're playing here is Tion. Tell me let me look at the thing again. Tion Wellness, TIONNE Wellness. If you're listening to this and you don't have the link in front of you, Tion Wellness. Someone mentioned earlier, I think a mega fan of yours said that they want to see, when we talked about the podcast, they said you want to call it Tea with T-Boz.
Oh, you know what? When I came out with my book, A Sick Life, I had tea time with T-Boz, where the fans would come sit with me and they can ask me questions about the book, and I would actually sit with them and talk about my life. But a lot of people do want me to do a podcast, and I am really considering doing one, especially with this pandemic and being that all of our jobs are canceled. You know, I always said the real hustlers and the creatives will survive this, because it'll make you go into, you know, your thinking cap and come up with a new way to work, your new normal. And that's what we've done. Like, we have a show coming out on the CW with iHeartRadio Monday. So it's a new way of working now. And I'm for it, because, you know, I get to be here with my children. And I do have a lot to say. And I do love to help people, because I didn't have nobody to help me. And I wish I had somebody to talk to me, because, you know, a lot of sicklers feel like they're alone, and you're not alone. We all go through the same thing. And another comment that pisses me off is when people say stuff like, oh, you got money. Money, there's no cure. You can't, I don't care if you was Bill Gates and Oprah combined. There's nothing to buy.
To cure sickle cell. You
can't buy knowledge. You can't make somebody, can I pay you to be smart, girl? You sound stupid. There's nothing out there different for me than there is for you, dummy. Like,
but that's so true. That's so true. You can't buy. We see that in with Steve Jobs.
Yeah,
one of the richest and most powerful people in the world, and we see what happens. And yes, it's so true. And I just want to thank you on this day of all days, on Lisa, what would have been Lisa's birthday. It is Lisa's birthday, Left Earth birthday. You are thriving. You are passing down so much information, passing over so much information to people. Your music has been the soundtrack of my life, and I know for millions and millions across the world. And so I just wish you the best and the brightest.
Oh, thank you.
You know, the next 50 years, I hope are just beautiful for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you, Janine, for your time. I appreciate you stopping by as well.
Thank you for this. This is definitely special for me. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna look up all your music too. I want to hear.
That I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
You'll love
Absolutely.
it. You'll love it. Look up Unstable.
Unstable. Okay.
Look up the song Unstable and Broke Me Down. Look up those two songs and you'll be like,
Unstable,
where can I
and
go see the
Broke Me
concert?
Down.
Let's go.
Okay. I'll do that.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks everybody who's listening or watching later. This has been one of the best moments of the last 10 years for me. So I appreciate it. Thanks everybody. We're gonna say goodbye.
Thanks guys. Bye.
Woohoo! We're out of here.